Okay, I had raccoons who were using my oak tree as a latrine. So they haven't been here now for 3 nights. And I did a little exercise here where I have a circle of lime. It's hydrated lime. You could use gardening lime, that's a little safer. And I put inside of the circle of lime, I put the repellent pills. Well, I guess they're kind of like pills. I sprinkled the pellets around, and I also have this bulb hanging from the tree that is a motion sensitive bulb. You can hear the radio I have going. Supposedly they hate talk radio, so I'm going to turn the talk radio off because that's kind of aggravating. But I took these old Christmas lights and I have them on constantly on the tree. And again, I'll go back to what I did around the oak tree. I put 2 concentric rings of lime, and then on the inside of that I have pots with rags soaked in ammonia. You want to be careful of that though, because you don't want to destroy or hurt your tree, because the tree right at those roots at the base, that's where it breathes, that's where it gets some of its oxygenation and transfer of air and minerals is right at those base roots. It's very, very important. So you want to make sure you don't hurt your tree. But the raccoons were actually pooping against the tree, so I would have to, you have to be careful removing it, because there's a roundworm in there that's deadly. There's no cure for it. If you get the roundworm in you or you breathe it in, it's deadly. So when you are working around any of that, you have to wear an N95 mask, you have to wear goggles that seal on the sides, you need to wear disposable clothing that will go on top of your clothing, and disposable shoes that will go on top of your shoes. I'll show you those in a minute. And you can also use vinegar. On the outside pots I have white vinegar. I think I'm going to move the white vinegar to the inside pots, because if they dump over, it'll be less dangerous for your tree. You could end up killing your tree. You don't want to do that. You can see I have the raccoon cage out there with a marshmallow in it. I didn't catch a raccoon. That's just as good for me. And here is a jar that had pellets in it, animal stopper pellets, that is supposed to be good to keep raccoons away as well. I cleaned it out really good after I emptied it, and I used it to put the rag with ammonia in it. Unfortunately, it did dump over, and I don't know if any liquid ammonia got out near my tree root. I hope to God it did not. So you want to be careful, again, around your tree roots. So what did I do by the house? Of course, I have the lights here, and I have a motion sensitive camera. I actually have 2 of them, and for some reason it's facing the wrong direction, so I think we did that. But I have motion sensitive camera there, and I have a camera here. Your N95 mask should be double banded, not single banded, double banded, so that it's tight to your face. And you should take the little metal part up at the top and pinch it down on the top of your nose for 2 reasons. Number 1, it will prevent your glasses from fogging up, and it'll also keep it sealed pretty airtight. Coveralls I use for my artwork as well, for doing this kind of work where you're working around raccoon excrement, which is extremely dangerous. I prefer to use the hooded ones, and the kinds that are gathered at the ankles, so that there's elastic there, so that nothing can waft up into the clothes. So the raccoon roundworm is extremely, extremely toxic. There's no known cure for it. So you would want to hit it with a torch, like a map gas torch, which gets to be very touchy when you're at the base of your tree. You don't want to kill your tree. So what I did was I waited a while, let it dry, and then I put lime on top of it, hydrated lime, and then when I moved it with the shovel, the lime was on top of it to keep any of the particles of the feces from becoming airborne. And then I moved it to a place where I could hit it with the torch while wearing an N95 mask. I moved it to where I could hit it with the torch really hot and for a long enough period of time that it was pretty well cooked. So the idea of the torch is that hot torches or boiling water are the only things known to be able to kill the roundworm. I'm not going to put it in boiling water, and I'm not going to pour boiling water on it because I really don't know how effective that will be around the tree. I don't know if any of it's going to get into the ground. So I did move it and hit it with the torch. Then of course on the ground where it once was, you can hit it with boiling water there. But when you pick it up, the shovel, you really need to get underneath it by about 1 or 2 inches. You need to get underneath it so you're not actually scraping underneath the scap. You're scraping under the soil and picking up a chunk of soil, as you can see that I did. I picked up a chunk of soil, and then of course I replaced the soil. You have to be careful though, because you want to remove the dangerous excrement, but you also don't want to kill your tree. So since the roundworm that can be inside of the raccoon excrement is so dangerous, the roundworm, there is no known cure for it. The protein is almost impossible to break down. The only thing known to be effective is boiling water or hitting it with a torch. So I used a map gas torch, but what I did was, for my tree, is I took some of the lime and I covered the excrement with the lime before I moved it. First of all, I waited for it to dry and kind of crust over. Then I covered it with the lime while wearing an N95 mask and while wearing the coveralls and goggles and gloves. And I then shoveled underneath it by getting some of the earth. You don't want to just shovel into the excrement. You want to shovel underneath it, grab some of the earth, as you can see I did, and then I replaced some of the earth. Had to do that here as well. Unfortunately, they like doing that at a very sensitive part of the tree. And then after shoveling that, I moved it to a spot where I was able to hit it with the torch, with a map gas torch. So it was probably around 1500 degrees, and I hit it for a long enough period of time where I'm sure it was any of the roundworm was dead. And then I was able to bag it, double bag it into garbage bags and throw it away. Seal up the bags, tie them up really good, double bags, and then throw it away. Oh yeah, I also put coffee grounds around the base of the innermost concentric circle, so closest to the base of the tree. The raccoons don't like it. It's not the strongest repellent, but remember, we're doing circles of repellents here. So we have the coffee grounds, and you should mix the coffee grounds with like soil, topsoil or potting soil, and then spread it around. It's a confusing smell for them. And then on the outside of that ring, of course, is your lime, garden lime. And then outside of that is the repellent, and then another ring of lime. Now, I will tell you this. You have to reapply the lime. If it rains, the lime is no longer effective. It will dry and become effective again, but as it's wet, it's not as effective. So you need to reapply the coffee grounds, the lime, if it rains. And as far as the deterrent pellets, you have to read the directions on the product that you have as to how often you have to reapply it. As far as the ammonia, you have to refresh the ammonia in the little cans that are around the base of the tree, because that also begins to evaporate and lose its effectiveness.